Hey, welcome to Resource Prepping. I'm your host, Greg. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I appreciate you being here, leaving your comments and everything else. We are at war with Iran, as everybody knows. It is escalating, as all wars do. And it is never one-sided. And I believe it will not be one-sided, especially when people, for whatever reason, support the Iranian regime, the Ayatollahs, the Muslims, whatever it is. They will start popping up even more frequently here in the United States, as we've seen. We have seen many, many attacks by naturalized citizens that are of the Muslim faith and want to attack either the Jewish synagogues, the bars, whatever reason they have. They all want to kill somebody in retaliation for whatever they believe. And all of them assume room temperature, but not before they believe they've accomplished their mission. I'm a firm believer in having metal assets, hard money assets, put away for a rainy day just in case. And as many people have said, you can't eat that gold coin. You can't eat that silver ounce, whatever. And you are correct. So let's take it a little bit further and say one of the terrorists succeeded, a cell succeeds, in knocking out the power grid, which I firmly believe could and will happen. That would cause such an economic chaos and downturn here in the United States. It's worse than any nuclear bomb, to be honest with you. Estimates show that within the first month, over 1 million people will pass away. If it is in time of winter, probably more than that, or extreme heat, probably more than that. But we know the first casualties will be in nursing homes, assisted living, and hospitals. After that, it will be because people only have 3 to 5 days worth of food in their household. And then they will realize the government is not going to help them. And they may have a stash of gold, silver, diamonds, whatever it is. And like many people say, you can't eat that ounce of gold or silver. And that is true. However, you can negotiate, should you be prepared, for that person who says, okay, I have whatever you might need for exchange of services. That troy ounce silver, gold, whatever, may get you gasoline, keep the lights on, whatever it is to pay your utilities, security, doctor's needs, whatever. But what if you say, hey, I have a little bit of extra, and what is that person willing to trade with you that may need some pain reliever, some antibiotics? How about some ibuprofen? How about some antibiotics? Some natural herbs to bring relief to that child or that person that is suffering. What's it worth to you? You're not trading everything you have, but you are providing some comfort in exchange for what they may have and you may want. Say they have gold and silver, and you say, okay, I have some extra Tylenol, I have some extra antibiotics. Yeah, I'll take that troy ounce of silver, gold, whatever, trade you that, and I'll stash that away for when things do recover. What would a bar of soap be worth to someone that hasn't bathed in a week? And believe me, when I was out on a fly-out hunt, after a week sleeping in the same bag, sleeping in a sleeping bag, and wearing the same clothes for a week without bathing, believe me, I was wondering what crawled in that sleeping bag and died. I was smelling pretty ripe. What would that be worth to somebody in that situation, say has a family? They want to get all that dirt, grime, everything else off of them and help keep themselves healthy. You say, well, Greg, what if there's no water? How about wet baths? Wipe yourself down, freshen up. What would that be worth to somebody? You have a whole stash of these. What would that be worth to somebody that wants to be clean, wants to feel fresh? What is that worth? How about a family that says, Greg, I'm hungry. We weren't as prepared as you. Government isn't coming to save us. I should have listened. Can you spare us some food? Okay. What do you have in exchange for that? People say, well, that's not very Christian of you. That's not very nice. Listen, when you're doing videos like this and you're telling people prepare, do the right thing, and you fed them once already, and now they've gone through that food and they're back knocking on your door saying, we're hungry, and you say, sorry, what do you have to exchange for that? And I'm not talking about woman or man selling themselves for your sexual gratification. I'm not talking about that. But what are you willing to exchange, say, for a big can of food that could feed you for 2 days? Again, it's only 2 days, but at least you'll be able to function and get through it while you're looking for more firewood, while you're looking for other food, while you're standing the post, guarding your area. Cooperation. How about eggs? What would a dozen eggs bring to that person, that family that's hungry? What would that be worth? These are things I want you to think about. Be prepared for. How about that cold bottle of water that you have stashed down in your cellar and saying, okay, yeah, I can give you a drink of water. What are you willing to exchange for it? I'm not being mercenary. I'm being realistic. When things get shut down, people are in the dark. People are desperate. People want to survive and have a little bit of comfort in their life to get back to normalcy until things turn around. You're in your own group. You are surviving in your own community. And I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. Yes, I have neighbors, but it's not uncommon to pass a horse and buggy. What would it be worth to have a cup of coffee? What are you willing to exchange? How well prepared are you? When that gold and silver, the dollar is worthless, and you're looking to exchange services for goods, what do you have that could be worth more than that troy ounce of silver and gold? Coffee, water, medicine. How about that? What is all of that worth to you as an individual when it comes time to be prepared? I'm not including lighters, batteries, kerosene for heat, kerosene oil lamps for light and comfort. You could do whatever you want, and you could do very well by trading goods and services for those that don't have it. Say, what if you run into somebody that doesn't have anything? Hey, put a shovel in their hand, dig a garden, dig a latrine, collect up all the garbage that's accumulating. They have 2 hands, strong backs and legs, get to work. Nothing is free, and you'll find that out really quickly. Now, this may all sound very apocalyptic, end of times and everything else, but what do you think is going to happen when the lights go out for a week and it extends into 2 weeks and extends into a month? And the time frame is a year to a year and a half before any power comes back on. What will that do for you? How will you survive that? People don't want to have that conversation because it's too scary for you. But if you're thinking ahead and saying, okay, I can survive this and do very well for myself, my group, my tribe, whatever you want to call it, my community, whatever you want to call it. Be judicious with what you barter with and how you send it out and what's the return. You can't say, well, I'm just feeding everybody, and then all of a sudden you're out. And then you have nothing, and then you're standing in line. No, that doesn't work that way. Be judicious with what you're exchanging. And for those that say, okay, my family's hungry. Well, instead of sitting out in your garage with 5 video games, with your kids playing video games with you, maybe you should have been a better father and a provider than playing video games and taking it really realistic and thought about your future. I believe things are going to get tough. I believe people are going to have sympathy for the Iranians. I don't believe the people are going to rise up right away. I believe the people are afraid. And we could actually go into a worldwide depression. It only takes them once to be right. And then it will be a rolling cascade across this nation that no president, no senator, no congressman will be able to stop. It will fall to you to survive. How you do that is through using your common sense and being prepared to wait it out. Just some food for thought. Gold and silver is good for a working economy. But when the economy stops due to collapse, and I'm not saying the dollar is going to collapse at any time, but should the economy fail due to whatever, have these things as backup to save yourself, save your friends, and maybe come ahead with what it is and when that time comes. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Greg out.